Hello, everybody. We now go ahead with our second session in class 9 biology related to the chapter on the fundamental unit of life, cell. So, in the first session, we have discussed a basic introduction to this topic. We have discussed that the cell is called as the basic structural and functional unit of life because all living organisms always must be made up of cells. They are always made up of cells. You may have a unicellular organism like a bacterium or an amoeba, which has only one cell, or you could have a multicellular organism like us with 30 trillion cells, but they are all going to be made up of cells. And so, cell is called as the basic structural functional unit. In simple words, it is the building block. Just as a wall or a house is going to be made by bringing together many bricks and other parts, same way we find that organisms are going to be made up of different cells being put together and working as one unit. That is why we call it as the basic structural, the most fundamental, the smallest correct building block of the organism. Now, cells were first discovered by a scientist by the name of Robert Hooke. We have discussed his story. We have also said that as other scientists improved the compound microscope, which first made it possible for Robert Hooke to see cells. Robert Hooke saw dead cells, cork cells, and because they look like honeycomb, he gave it the term cells. Later, other scientists such as Leeuwenhoek and Robert Brown, they improved the microscope. They saw the cells even bigger, better, clearer, and so living cells and eventually cells with nucleus, all of this started being visualized. Still further, when the scientists made even better microscopes, the parts within a cell which you have studied, such as the endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi complex, the mitochondria, the chloroplasts, vacuoles, lysosomes, etc. All these started being visualized. These could be seen nicely, and we could start understanding a little bit better about what purpose, what function they are doing in the cells. This way, our knowledge of the cell has improved over the years, and this knowledge we want to try to have a look at in this chapter. A lot of this you have studied in class 8 as well, and this is in a way an extension. This is a little further development beyond that. Now, we have discussed in our earlier first session also that cells come in a great variety of size, ranging from very tiny ones like bacteria and mycoplasma, which are very small, even smaller than our cells, and so very difficult to see under a microscope, to some very large ones like the egg of an ostrich, which we generally consider as the largest cell. It typically is the size of a coconut. बहुत बड़ा होता है. So there is a wide range, a great variety of size. There is also a great variety of shape. Some cells may be roughly cubical, some may be a little more taller, some may be spherical and rounded. Some may have a firm shape, some may not have a firm shape. For example, an amoeba does not have any firm shape. It can keep changing its body shape. And so great variety of size, shape and function as well. Some cells may be protective, some cells may be manufacturing some important chemicals, some cells may be conducting a nerve, like a nerve fiber, they may be conducting a signal, a sensation or an order or something like that. So for example, you happen to touch something hot, then the fact that it is very hot, it is your nerves which will carry that sensation to the brain. And having understood that, your hand will immediately move away. So at the spinal level itself, some orders will be given to some of the muscles, and the muscles will quickly contract and move away. So all this is through electrical signals being transferred through the nerve fibers. The contraction of the muscles, that is a different function again. So different cells are carrying out different functions as well. So this way, although there is great variety in size, shape, function, etc., still there are some features which are common to cells. Some of these features, some of the parts which make up a complete cell, that is what we want to try to discuss now. So the smaller parts which make up a complete cell, we generally refer to these as organelles. So let's write this word over here. These are called as cell. Let's move a little here. Cell organelles. Plural organelle, singular organelle. Now, what do we mean by this term? You know that our body is made up of organs. So a hand is an organ, a nose is an organ, eye is an organ, brain is an organ. These are organs. Organs put together make an organism. Now, in the case of a cell, the parts which make up the cell, you could have called them organs of the cell, but then we're using the word organ for these large structures. So we use this word organelle, which means a small, tiny, microscopic organ. So the cell organelles refer to those smaller parts within the cell which make up the cell, such as, for example, there will be a nucleus, there will be endoplasmic reticulum around it, all surrounding on all sides. There will be some mitochondria, there will be some chloroplast if it is a plant cell in the leaf capable of doing photosynthesis, and so on. So this way you get a variety of different organelles. Now we have to try to have a look at some of these organelles. In class 8, you have already studied quite a big list of organelles. We are now going to go into a little more details of some of these. Let's start from the outside and come to some of the organelles inside the cell. So if you talk of a plant cell, then a plant cell has a protective covering in the form of a wall, just as a house may have a compound wall around it to demarcate its boundary. Yahan tak mera ilaka hai. वैसे ही for a cell, this is my existence, this is what I am. So surrounding it and for protection, to keep a particular definite shape, there is a cell wall. Now, a cell wall is present only in plant cells. Animal cells do not have a cell wall. What could be the logical reason behind this? The logical reason is plants are not supposed to have locomotion. So plants are fixed in one point. Where their roots are present in the soil, plants remain there. If a wind blows, they may twist a little, but they shouldn't completely fall on the ground. They should be able to retain their shape where they are. For that you need strength. If each cell has a strong, hard cell wall, the whole plant will also have a strong structure and it will remain that way. So for this purpose, plants need to have a cell wall. We, on the other hand, are capable of movement. If we and each of our cell would have had a cell wall, making it fixed and attached to each other without movement, we would also have been rigid. We would not have been able to move about from our place. जहां जैसे खड़े हैं वहीं रह जाते, movement बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता. So animal cells are not expected to have a cell wall to make movement possible. Now, cell wall is made up of, in the case of plants, of a particular chemical which we call as cellulose. This chemical, cellulose, is in the form of very thin and long fibers, धागों की तरह, and these fibers are all attached and crisscrossed with each other, meshed with each other, because of which, because they hold to each other nicely and tightly, the whole cell wall remains in its fixed place. It cannot move about easily. In other words, it is a rigid structure, not a flexible structure, and so it gives a particular definite shape. The wall remains in its place, giving the cell a definite shape. So this is why plant cells generally have a particular definite shape. Sometimes a bit like this, sometimes a little like this, and so on, but they generally do not have too much of a flexibility of shape. They remain in their place because of the cell wall. So the main function of the cell wall is to impart or to give a definite shape and boundary to the cell. Now, at the same time, it also allows some chemicals to come in and go out. So for example, for a cell to remain alive, it may need water, it may need oxygen, carbon dioxide, and all may need to be transported. Cell wall allows a movement across this. So this is like you have a compound wall, but उसमें gaps है, जिसमें से कोई पंछी, जिसमें से कोई here you have seen that sometimes some dog or cat can pass through that, through a wired compound wall. तार का जो काटा तार का जो wall है, वो अपनी जगह पे रहता है, लेकिन उसमें से कोई जानवर आना जाना पॉसिबल होता है, especially छोटे जानवर. So this way, to allow some chemical molecules to come in and go out, the cell wall is in the form of fibers but with gaps in between. That is how it allows structures or some molecules to come in and go out. So having covered cell wall, we come to the next structure, that is the cell membrane. Cell membrane is also sometimes called as plasma membrane. Cell membrane is flexible. It is not rigid. It is flexible, but it does not easily allow chemicals to come in and go out. Just as, for example, कोई कपड़ा है, तो कपड़ा आप bend twist कर सकते हैं. It won't retain in a particular place. It is flexible, but it will not easily allow something like a bat or a ball to pass through. However, it may allow some very, very tiny particles to pass through because there is a little gap in that also. Now, cell membrane is a living membrane. It is belonging to a living organism and its cells. So, it has a special ability. It can, to some extent, decide which molecules are required and should be allowed to come in at a given time, and which should not be allowed to come in at a given time. So we use an important term and a property of cell membrane. We say that a cell membrane is selectively permeable. Let's write this word and then let's try to understand what it means. Permeable, P-E-R-M-E-A-B-L-E. Permeable means जो permeate करने देता है. Permeate होना यानी कि to pass through. So something that will allow molecules to pass through is permeable. But कैसा permeable? Selectively permeable. यानी कि it will select and allow ये molecule जा सकता है, लेकिन ये molecule नहीं जा सकता. So some chemicals may be allowed. Some chemicals which may be too large in size or which it may find as this is not right to be brought in, अंदर का functioning बिगड़ सकता है, उसको पे वो रोक लगा सकता है. So cell membrane can decide what to allow, what not to allow. ठीक वैसे जैसे compound wall rigid है, लेकिन उसमें कुछ gates है. Gate पे कोई चौकीदार है. वो चौकीदार आपसे पूछ सकता है, भाई आप कहाँ जा रहे हैं? क्या आपके पास परमिशन है यहाँ आने की? तो आप आ सकते हैं. नहीं तो आप नहीं आ सकते. सो स्कूल के गेट पे जो आपके वॉचमैन है, वो स्कूल स्टूडेंट्स को यूनिफॉर्म में अपने आई कार्ड के साथ अलाउ करेंगे. लेकिन कोई रास्ते से जाने वाला चोर उचक्का है, उसके पास ना यूनिफॉर्म है ना आई कार्ड है, वो अंदर आने की घुसने की कोशिश करेगा तो उसको पूछेंगे कौन है, किससे मिलना है, क्या है. नहीं, आपको कोई वैलिड रीजन नहीं है तो रुक जाओ, आप अंदर अलाउड नहीं है. करेक्ट. सो सेम वे the cell membrane can decide some molecules are allowed, some molecules are not allowed. Now, there is a little more about the process of allowing things to come in and go out, and related to that, let us learn some terms and words. So, we will learn one word called diffusion and another word called osmosis. Let's try to understand these two chemical processes. These are in a way taking place in life, so you could call them biological processes, but they take place even in non-living situations, so we call them as a chemical or a physical process as well. So diffusion and osmosis. अब इन दोनों को समझने के लिए let's take some example. If you have a room with air which is present everywhere, air is always there, and the air molecules are constantly in a state of motion, is what you have studied. Now, ऐसी रूम में अगर एक कोने में, कहीं दूर कोने में उस तरफ, वहां पे मैंने एक परफ्यूम का स्प्रे जो बॉटल होता है करके which you apply sometimes, deo or perfume or something like that, एक कोने में मैंने उसका एक ऐसा स्क्वीज कर दिया, तो उसमें से छोटे छोटे फाइन ड्रॉपलेट्स ऑफ परफ्यूम will be released in that corner. But after about half a minute or 1 minute, you will get the smell in the opposite corner as well. कैसे? आपने तो परफ्यूम उस जगह छोड़ा था, लेकिन उसके मॉलिक्यूल्स they spread out. So this process of spreading out, where they were in higher concentration, जहां रिलीज किया था वहां उनका concentration higher था, उस higher concentration region से to other regions where their concentration was low, So from higher concentration to lower concentration, ऐसा जो एक spontaneous spreading out होता है, that is called diffusion. It happens because molecules are in a state of motion, they are constantly moving. तो अपने आप धीरे 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 फैलना शुरू हो जाएगा, उनका spreading out होना शुरू हो जाएगा. Similarly, if you take a beaker of water and in that beaker of water you drop a colored crystal of a substance like potassium permanganate. You know potassium permanganate is violetish, purplish in color. ये इसमें ड्रॉप करके छोड़ दिया तो थोड़ी देर बाद सारा पानी वायलेट या पर्पल कलर का होता है. कैसे? क्योंकि water molecules are also moving. They hit against this. Some molecules get released from it. It gets dissolved. It is soluble in water. And so these molecules of potassium permanganate, KMnO4, will spread everywhere in the water through a process of diffusion again. Same way smoke spreads, gases mix, all of this is diffusion. Now, something different is what we mean by osmosis. Osmosis क्यों different है? So when we talk of osmosis, what we mean is this kind of a movement, but not randomly anywhere in one place, but across a particular dividing membrane. Then across a membrane जब movement होता है, खास करके movement of a solvent across a membrane, then that is called osmosis. And a membrane which allows this to happen is called as a permeable membrane, permission देने वाला membrane. So let's try to understand this now. You know that plasma membrane we have, or cell membrane we have been discussing. Cell membrane कुछ molecules को, जैसे कि कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड या ऑक्सीजन, इनको अंदर आना या बाहर जाना कभी-कभी allow कर सकता है. या let us talk of water. Now you know that water can be taken into a cell because it is essential for its processes. So movement of water can take place into the cell. Movement of water can also take place outside the cell. सिर्फ अंदर ही आएगा ऐसे नहीं, बाहर भी छोड़ा जा सकता है. तो water का movement जब ऐसे होगा तो वो एक तरीके से osmosis कहलाएगा. अब ऐसा movement समझने के लिए let's take some more examples and some situations. So for example, there is a nice experiment described in your books about this. Suppose if we take an egg, अंडा जो होता है regular white egg, उसका shell hard होता है. Why is it hard? Because it has some calcium compounds, calcium carbonate type कुछ compounds उसमें है, जिसकी वजह से उसमें एक शक्ति है. There is a hardness to it. Now these calcium compounds are soluble in dilute acids. So if you put an egg in a beaker containing a dilute acid like dilute hydrochloric acid HCl, तो इस एसिड में उसके शेल के क्रिस्टल्स, उसमें जो कैल्शियम के कंपाउंड्स है, मॉलिक्यूल्स है, वो डिसॉल्व हो जाएंगे और वो इसमें डिसॉल्व हो जाएंगे. जस्ट एज इफ आई टेक अ पीस ऑफ chalk which we use for writing on a blackboard, if that is put, वो भी धीरे धीरे उसमें डिसॉल्व होना शुरू हो सकता है. So say, or if you take an acid and put it onto a piece of calcium carbonate, you will see some fizzing, क्योंकि उसमें भी कुछ reactions हो रही है. वैसे ही ये reaction होके dissolve हो जाएगा. बाहर का shell निकल गया तो अंडे के अंदर अपने एक पतले से protective covering membrane के साथ अंदर का अंडा बिलबिला सा soft अब पीछे रह जाएगा, क्योंकि उसमें उसका semi solid colloidal thin liquid like but not watery liquid, थोड़ा thickish liquid like jelly like ऐसा substance भरा हुआ है और ऊपर का shell आपने अब dissolve कर दिया है. अब ये जो इसका membrane बचा है shell के अंदर, and sometimes if you boil an egg and remove the outer hard covering, you see that membrane, a white, slightly transparent, not fully transparent like glass, but slightly transparent membrane दिखता है. That kind of a membrane is going to be left, and this membrane which is left behind is permeable. It can allow movement of some molecules. अब ऐसे shell निकाले हुए membrane covered अंडे को, बिलबिले अंडे को अगर आपने पानी में रख दिया, शुद्ध पानी, प्योर वाटर, then after some time you will find this will swell up. You can actually see it increase in size. क्यों ऐसे हुआ? क्योंकि इसके अंदर के जो सेल्स है उसमें भी थोड़ा पानी था, but it also had lots of sugars, proteins and other substances, and so it was concentrated. Water outside did not have these substances, so it was less concentrated or dilute. From a region of less concentration to a region of high concentration, when the solvent like water, when it moves across a membrane, that process we call as osmosis. OSMOSIS. So if this is less concentrated or dilute and this is more concentrated, so इसमें concentration कम है, इसमें ज़्यादा है, तो movement will take place like this. On the other hand, सिर्फ पानी के जगह अगर मैंने, if I use something like a very concentrated solution of salt or sugar, जैसे गुलाब जामुन की जो चाशनी होती है, सराउंडिंग जो रस होता है रसगुल्ले का वगैरह, उसमें बहुत सारी मिठास, lots of sugar, concentrated. So वैसे लिक्विड में अगर मैंने अंडे को डाला तो अब बाहर का concentration हाई है, compared to that अंदर का concentration it is less concentrated. Now what will happen is, because this is more concentrated and this is less concentrated, water will move from this direction, inside to outside, and so it will soon start shrinking in size. अंडा छोटा छोटा होते जाएगा, आपको नजर आएगा आधे घंटे के बाद वो एकदम छोटा सा सिकुड़ गया है. So this way it will lose out its water and shrink in size. So इस तरीके से osmosis can be inward, end osmosis, or outward, exosmosis. This can also be seen in some other situations. You have seen some dried fruits like the raisins, जिसको हम कहते हैं किशमिश, मनुका किशमिश. मनुका किशमिश को, these are made from dried grapes and so on. तो उसमें से पानी ऑलरेडी निकल गया है, उसको अगर आप पानी में भिगो के रखोगे तो थोड़ी देर बाद वो स्वेल होके आपको नजर आएगा. अब इसकी जगह आपने उसको एकदम कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड सॉल्ट, नमकीन पानी में डाल दिया तो थोड़ी देर बाद फिर से श्रिवल होके आपको नजर आएगा. So this is the osmosis process that we are talking of. So cell membrane is a selectively permeable membrane which allows osmosis and movement of water under some conditions and not under other conditions. और ऐसा कोई सेल अगर बाहर और अंदर दोनों में concentration similar होगा, जिसको कहते हैं isotonic, same concentration on both sides. Iso means same, tonic or tonic means concentration, same concentration on both sides. Movement of water will neither take place from in to out nor out to in. अगर अंदर का concentration जो है वो strongly concentrated है और बाहर dilute है तो पानी बाहर से अंदर आएगा. अगर अंदर का dilute है comparatively बाहर और भी ज्यादा strong है, ज्यादा concentrated है, तो पानी अंदर से बाहर जाएगा. So this is what we mean by osmosis through a cell membrane. Cell membrane, because it can decide what can come in, whether some things like sodium, potassium आने चाहिए कि नहीं आने चाहिए. Accordingly, it can control the conditions inside the cell. उसका concentration कितना होना चाहिए, उसमें किस substance का जरूरत है, किसको allow करना है, किसको नहीं करना है, ये सारा function cell membrane execute करता है. Now, if you still go further inside, so within the cell membrane there is a gel-like or colloidal substance filling up the whole cell, which we refer to as the cytoplasm. In my earlier class, I had mentioned that there is the presence of two words that we talk of over here. एक है cytoplasm, दूसरा है protoplasm. इन दोनों का फर्क हमने डिस्कस किया था. Let's quickly see the difference. For a cell, if this is its cell membrane, तो इसके अंदर जो सारा gel-like colloidal, gel-like means not very watery but not completely hard either. थोड़ा सा जेली जैसे होता है, वैसे आप उसमें उंगली रख सकते हैं लेकिन वो अपने आप इस आसानी से बहेगा नहीं. That is what is meant by gel-like. वैसे cytoplasm is gel-like. Why is it gel-like? Because उसमें बहुत सारे proteins है, बहुत सारे other molecules है, न सिर्फ पानी है. 80-90% of cytoplasm is water, but because there are lots of other substances added to it, वो थोड़ा सा less fluid बन जाता है. Just as if you take water but add आटा to it, then आटा वगैरह mix होने के बाद वो पानी पहले के जैसे बहेगा नहीं, लेकिन थोड़ा stiff, thick हो जाएगा. Same thing happens over here as well. So this way you get a little bit of gel-like substance. That is what we call as cytoplasm. अब इसके बीच में there is a nucleus, a slightly darker body, which is the headquarters of the cell. So all the cytoplasm, but without the nucleus, then we refer to that as cytoplasm. But all of this together with nucleus, then that is called as protoplasm. So cytoplasm plus nucleus is equal to protoplasm. ये बात आप ध्यान में रखिए. Now, within this cytoplasm, lots of important chemicals are present, but all the other cell organelles are also present in the cytoplasm. So let's have a quick look at some of these other cell organelles. So सबसे important होता है उसके बीच में जो nucleus होता है. Nucleus is usually at the center. Sometimes it can be a little away, but usually at the center, and it is the main governing or controlling structure. Just as महाराष्ट्र के लिए मुंबई उसका कैपिटल है, उसका हेडक्वार्टर्स है, वहां से ऑर्डर्स दिए जाएंगे, चाहे पुलिस के लिए हो, चाहे बाकी कोई एम्प्लॉइज के लिए हो, एंड सो ऑन. सो वैसे ही सेल का गवर्निंग, उसके ऑर्डर्स देना, किस चीज को मैन्युफैक्चर करना है, क्या नहीं करना है, वो डिसाइड करना न्यूक्लियस का फंक्शन है. इट हैज टू कंट्रोल एंड रेगुलेट ऑल ऑफ दैट. So that is why it is a very important structure. Within that, it has genetic material in the form of structures called chromosomes. इसमें इतने में हम ज्यादा डिटेल में नहीं जाएंगे. We will for the moment restrict ourselves to this. Chromosomes are the genetic material which decide that we should be humans. तो हम human बनने के लिए उसमें हमारी क्या functions होनी चाहिए, क्या structures होने चाहिए, हमारी body कैसे होनी चाहिए, क्या-क्या सब्सटेंसेस मैन्युफैक्चर होने चाहिए, और इंसान से वापस इंसान ही पैदा होना चाहिए, ये सब कंट्रोल करना क्रोमोसोम्स का काम होता है. So let's write this nucleus as well. Now, we don't want this first session that is recorded to be too long. So here we will stop a little, we will take a pause, and we will move on to a second session in which we will continue with this and discuss some of the remaining organelles such as the mitochondrion, the Golgi complex, the endoplasmic reticulum, the chloroplasts, vacuoles, lysosomes and so on. तो इनका हम अगले सेशन में देख लेंगे. Here we will take a pause for this particular session. We will keep making sessions small. अब एक समय पे थोड़ा, क्योंकि एक साथ एक समय पे बहुत ज्यादा ओवरलोड भी नहीं करना है, न ज्यादा आंखों पे स्ट्रेन भी डालना है, तो छोटे-छोटे वीडियोस एक के बाद एक सीरीज में रखते जाएंगे. So today we stop this particular part over here. Thank you. Bye.